crispy panko crunch, sweet dashi soaked broth, and molten egg draped over steaming rice. This is chicken Katsudon. Here's exactly how to nail it at home. If you like a printable version of this recipe, just Google Chicken Katsudon Sudachi to find it on my website. Take about 350 grams plus of boneless chicken thigh and lay it out on your cutting board. Traditional Katsudon uses pork, that's the classic, but it doesn't always have to be the case. Now, you can absolutely use chicken breast if you prefer something lighter, but thigh stays succulent, it's juicier, more flavorful, and honestly way more forgiving if your timing isn't perfect. Score the thickest parts of the flesh with the tip of your knife or kitchen scissors, just shallow cuts to help the surface more or less even. And remove the tendons if you want to. Once it's more or less even, cut the thigh in half, one piece per serving. Set a heavy pot over medium heat and pour in enough neutral high smoke point oil for deep frying. I personally use rice bran oil all the time. Bring it up to 170 degrees Celsius, which is 338 degrees Fahrenheit. Alright, assembly line time. Grab 2 wide plates or containers. On the first one, mix together 1 tablespoon of cake or all-purpose flour and half tablespoon of cornstarch. This is your dusting mixture. On the second plate, spread out 60 grams of panko breadcrumbs. That's about 1 US cup or half a cup per cutlet. Japanese panko is coarse and airy, and when it hits hot oil, it fries into the iconic shattery crunchy coating. I'm using dry panko today. And if you want, you can make homemade panko using old bread easily. In a pinch, you can use your regular breadcrumbs, but the texture will be slightly different. Next, crack 1 egg into a mixing bowl and add 5 tablespoons of cake or all-purpose flour and 3 tablespoons of water. Whisk it all together until you have a thick, smooth batter. I usually apply these in separate layers for pork, but I find batter is preferable for chicken as the surface is smoother yet more irregular. It acts like glue, helping the panko form a crunchier coat that really adheres to the chicken. Now pat the chicken thighs dry. Season both sides of each cutlet with a pinch of salt and a crack of black pepper. Now take the first piece and place it in your flour cornstarch mixture. Then lift it up and shake off any excess. Dip it fully into the batter, making sure it's completely coated, then lift it out and let the drips fall back into the bowl. Immediately transfer it to the panko and press both sides firmly with your palm. Really embed those crumbs, as loosely coated panko will just fall off during frying. Repeat with the second piece. The moment your last piece is coated, gently lower the first cutlet into the preheated oil, laying it away from you to avoid any splatter. Because I get asked all the time, I'm gonna show you my pot. This is what's called tempura pot. Mine has a thermometer, which is extremely helpful for maintaining a consistent temperature throughout. I've put a link in the description if you're interested. Fry each cutlet for about 3 minutes per side, 6 minutes total, at 160 to 170 degrees Celsius, which is 320 to 338 degrees Fahrenheit, turning halfway through. After both sides are golden, transfer the cutlets to a wire rack to rest for 2 minutes. Now here's an important note. Rest them on a wire rack, not paper towels. Paper towels might seem logical, but they actually trap steam underneath, making the bottom crust soggy. A wire rack lets air circulate, keeping everything crispy. While they rest, crank your oil temperature up to 180 degrees Celsius, which is 356 Fahrenheit. After 2 minutes of resting, give each cutlet a final 30 to 60 second dunk in the hot oil. This second fry is what gives you the burnished, restaurant quality amber color. This makes all the difference. Transfer them back to the wire rack. Now if deep frying at home just isn't your thing, I get it. You can absolutely make this with oven baked chicken katsu instead. I've got a video tutorial if you're interested. Pour 150 ml of dashi stock into a medium skillet or shallow saucepan, ideally something with a lid because you'll need that later. Dashi is what creates depth and gives the dish its authentic Japanese soul. You can make it fresh with kombu and bonito flakes, or for convenience use teabag style dashi packet or instant dashi granules. But for granules, they add quite a bit of flavour, more than the other two, so you might want to consider reducing chicken bouillon powder a bit later. Either way, don't skip it, dashi is the backbone of Katsudon. Set over medium heat. Once it starts to steam and bubble, stir in 3 tablespoons of mirin, 1 tablespoon of light brown sugar, and 1 teaspoon of Asian style chicken bouillon powder. Chicken bouillon powder varies quite a bit by brand. Mine is 1 teaspoon per 200 ml, but if yours is more concentrated, like 1 teaspoon per 300 or 1 cup, use a little less to avoid oversalting. You can always adjust later. Stir until everything is dissolved, then toss in half an onion, thinly sliced. Let those onion slices simmer until they turn soft and translucent, about 3 to 4 minutes. You want them tender and sweet, not too crunchy. Today I'm using a standard 24 cm pan to cook 2 servings at once, but if you want a perfect presentation, you could use an oyakonabe like this, or a tiny skillet to cook each portion individually. It certainly looks refined, but that also means splitting the sauce and onions and cooking in shifts. Pour 4 teaspoons of Japanese soy sauce into your simmering onion broth. That's quick shoyu, the standard Japanese soy sauce. Give it a stir. While the broth absorbs the savory depth, grab your roasted chicken cutlets and slice them crosswise into strips. Lay the katsu strips over the onions in a single layer. If you're making multiple portions in one large pan, arrange them in a way that's easy to divide later. At this point, if you want to check the seasoning, now's the time. The broth should taste slightly strong on its own because the egg and rice will mellow everything out later. If it's too strong, splash in a bit of hot water. Need more depth, attach more soy sauce. Too sharp, a pinch more sugar to balance. Now we're going to cook the eggs in 2 stages. Whites first, then yolks. This prevents that rubbery overcooked texture when you dump everything in at once. Separate 3 eggs, putting the whites in one bowl and the yolks in another. Whisk the egg whites until those thick ropey strands break down into a pourable consistency. Now drizzle them in a slow spiral around the edges of the pan. Avoiding pouring directly over the chicken at first, let them flow around and underneath. Immediately cover with a lid and let steam work its magic for about 1 minute. The whites will set into soft, billowy clouds. Now lightly beat the yolks just enough to break them up and pour them in the same circular motion around the pan. Cover again, then turn off the heat completely. Let the residual steam gently cook the yolks over the next 60 to 90 seconds. This leaves them molten and glossy rather than rubbery. Grab 2 bowls and scoop in your hot steamed Japanese short grain rice. Medium grain cornrows works too. For an extra touch, sprinkle some kizami nori over the rice to create a flavorful bed. This is optional, but it adds a nice layer of oceanic contrast. Use a spatula or large spoon to gently lift half the chicken, onions and egg mixture from the pan. Let any excess sauce drip back, then carefully slide it over 1 bowl of rice. Spoon a few tablespoons of the remaining savory broth over the top. Finish with a generous sprinkle of finely chopped green onions for freshness and colour. And there you have it, chicken katsudon. It's a don that brings the comfort of the sweet savory egg, but with the satisfying volume of a fried chicken. Pure indulgence. Want even more delicious recipes? Grab my free cookbook from the link in the description. Okay, let's go over the ingredients one more time. And if you're ready to cook, grab the written instructions by clicking the full recipe box with a picture that's about to pop up on your screen. That's a wrap. You can find a full printable version of this recipe on my website, linked right here on the screen. It has all the extra details to help you get it perfect every time. If you enjoyed this, check out my ultimate playlist. And next week I'm making mentaiko pasta. Hit subscribe so you don't miss it. See you then.